Intimacy is another factor within relationships. The degrees of intimacy, how we manage it, and how we come to agree on what levels are appropriate and which are not. Now, what is intimacy? In general, it is a close union, contact, association, or acquaintance. So anybody you can make a close connection to. Now, there are different dimensions of intimacy. More often than not, people think of physical intimacy, constantly hugging, kissing, sex, that sort of thing. Where that is absolutely a form of intimacy, there are other types as well. Intellectual intimacy, where you feel able to communicate deeply and think strongly and deeply about various topics and have good discussions. Emotional intimacy, where you feel comfortable self-disclosing, or you're okay revealing strong emotions in front of the person and such. And then shared activities, where you can connect on a deep level by participating in something that you both enjoy. So intimacy comes in a lot of dimensions. And in addition to that, there are things that greatly influence or ways in which intimacy is expressed. Now, masculine and feminine intimacy styles are things that can impact a relationship. As I always say, there's no guarantee that any one person is going to do things the exact same way as another person. There's no way to say that just because you identify as masculine or feminine that you will be these ways. However, studies have shown pretty steadily that the various gender roles tend to experience intimacy in specific ways. For example, the feminine gender role, those who say they are female, feel there's more intimacy with self-disclosure. So the more you talk and disclose, the greater intimacy is felt. So you can kind of look back at intellectual or emotional intimacy in that case. Masculine gender roles see intimacy through shared activities. That can combine both the shared activities we just mentioned and also physical intimacy. So there's an expression of intimacy that differs between the masculine and feminine styles. Now, culture also influences intimacy based on where you come from, and not just regionally what the norms are for your culture, but the norms within your family style. Do you hug a lot? So are you physically touchy? Are you emotionally open? All of those impact how you communicate and what levels of intimacy you will express. And then finally, intimacy is also expressed in different ways through mediated communication. This means online, using digital tools. So you express things slightly differently. You feel different levels of intimacy when using digital communication than you would if it was face-to-face. And that can vary. It can be that you feel extremely intimate when revealing things online because you know it's permanent, or the other way around, you feel like it's a free space for you to express yourself and not feel any backlash because there's not somebody standing right in front of you. So all of these will impact or influence your identification of what is intimate and what is not. Now, in theory, there is one basic theory that was established quite a long time ago that allowed us to see why we struggle with intimacy within relationships. And this is Baxter and Montgomery's Relational Dialectics. And we're just going to briefly go over what this says about intimacy within a relationship. So intimacy is a connection. Within that connection, we have different desires, different needs. And in some cases, those desires and needs can form tension. Now, in Baxter and Montgomery's Relational Dialectics, they express 3 levels of internal tensions that can exist in any relationship. One is connection and autonomy, which is basically feeling that you want to be very, very close to someone, connected to them on all these intimate levels, and then at the same time, there may be one of you or both of you that feel a need or desire to be autonomous or independent. Another one would be expression and privacy, which is where you feel those with high levels of openness want to disclose a lot and feel very willing to do that, where those with closedness don't disclose as much and feel they need to keep much to themselves. Finally is stability and change, which basically looks at predictability and novelty. So within this situation, you enjoy, for predictability, you enjoy steadiness. You enjoy knowing what to expect. Whereas in novelty, you like things that are new and interesting. So all of these, and these are only the internal forms, they have their components with external forms as well, as you can see here on the PowerPoint slide. But all of these things impact how you experience intimacy within a relationship. In some cases, you may feel yourself that you have a strong desire for connection, whereas your partner is experiencing at a point in their life where they would prefer to have some sense of autonomy, or within the relationship, it's brand new and they need to have a sense of autonomy when you do not. Now, all of these things can adjust based on your relationship. The key to remember is that there's a sense of tension that comes based on how strongly you are one side or the other compared to your partner. Whether that be somebody in a romantic relationship or a friendship, or somebody in a employment situation. If you think about it, openness and closeness, or constantly keeping the whole group involved with connection, or being an independent worker and working on your own. See, it works in all relationships. The key is to understand what these are, know that they exist, and that they are partly a form of tension within a relationship, and understand that when you feel that tension, that you can look to these and see if there's maybe a part of it that is being impacted by relational dialectics.